Before we get started on assignment 2, let's talk a little bit about naming conventions and naming practices and the use of the file panel inside of Dreamweaver. The file panel inside of Dreamweaver should really be your resource for changing and moving and adding new files to the website that we're building. You could always right-click on any directory or file and tell it to explore, and Dreamweaver will launch a Windows environment where you can see how your directory structure is built. And yes, in Windows you can add files and make some basic changes without any problem. However, there are some changes that will not be reflected in your website if you don't make the changes inside of Dreamweaver. For example, you might have noticed that my assignment 1 folder is misspelled, and yes, like I said, I could make that change in Windows. However, this is not the only place where this word is misspelled. Take into account that I've already made a link to that file from index.html. Remember this, assignment 1, which is spelled correctly on the link itself. However, in the code, since we asked it to look for the name of this folder, it's telling me that it's in a folder called assignment 1 with 3 S's. And this is also reflected inside the HTML code and everywhere else where this link may already be appearing. And by the time we build our 10th folder, it would be really hard to be tracking exactly where this error is found across the site. So let me close that. And just like you would in Windows, in the Files panel, I'm going to click the file name, make my change, delete the one additional S and press return. I'm going to wait for Dreamer to think it over. And it's telling me that actually this misspelling is already represented in 4 files. And it's giving me the option to update the mistake in all 4 files that contain the wrong name. So I'll do that. I'll just click update. I'll wait for Dreamweaver to do its work. And when it's finished, I can double check the index file and see that my link has been updated in the index file and any other pages that may have had that name misspelled. So make it a point to always make these changes using the Files panel. Something else that I might recommend, and I'll make the change again on the same assignment file. Try to be consistent with capital letters and spacing. Although you may create files that have names with spaces in them, I strongly recommend that you use an underscore or a hyphen to separate the word where you might have put the space, simply because servers usually cannot handle the space in a file name. If you've seen websites that have extraneous characters such as %20, that's how they compensate for the space that is unexpected in a file name. And since we really don't know how any particular server is going to handle lowercase and uppercase, make sure you are consistent in your naming practices. I'm going to change the name of this directory to a lowercase. And Dreamweaver will actually ask us to update the links as well, because it has the same doubts about the servers. It just wants to make sure that the file reflected in the document is the same throughout the website. Another solution to the spacing problem would be to use camel case coding. And whenever we run into that situation, I'll bring it up again and give you additional information on camel case. There will be at least 10 exercises in this course, and since we want to be consistent throughout the course, at any point you can start to create your new folders. I will create a folder for assignment 2 and follow the same naming convention. I know that I'm going to have an index page, and I will also have a style sheet that is attached to it. And most of these will have images, so let's create some folders that we can use for them. I'll name this one images. You really don't need to create another styles folder, we'll just keep it in the root. However, I will create a new file and call it index as well. index.html, and we will just create the CSS file from within Dreamweaver whenever we start to build assignment 2.